I'm in South Carolina today on a commercial shoot, and I finished up a little bit early. So I started doing some research on what was in the general area that I'm located. And there happens to be a state park here that during the months of May and early June, something magical happens. And wouldn't you know, we're in the middle of May. So, if this works out, we might have something really cool to shoot today.
Setting up the shot. This is just crazy.
So I finished up the shoot and started doing the research, and I am near Landsford Canal State Park. When I punched that in, did a little bit of research on it, in the months of May and June, the spider lilies bloom and can be seen in the canal there, growing on the outcropping of rocks, and it looked pretty neat. So that's what I'm going to try to catch today. The only problem I'm going to run into is the park closes at 6, and I will be getting there at 5:30. So I don't know if that's going to leave me 30 minutes to try to get some shots, or if that's just the, you know, park complex house, whatever, that closes at 6, but you know, you can still get into the park. So we'll have to see that when I get there. I will show a map of exactly where I'm shooting from so that you can find it and check it out yourself. But I'm pretty excited about this. This might be a rather neat, you know, cool looking shot. Sign said daylight to dark, so that's kind of promising. Out here, and I'm walking down to the river. It's going to be about, I guess, half a mile to 3/4 of a mile upriver where the spider lilies are supposed to grow. The one thing that concerns me is there's been a lot of rain over the past few weeks, and I don't know if the river is too high, because I don't know how the spider lilies work there, to be honest with you. I was hoping to talk to one of the park rangers, but they drove off as I drove in, and I didn't get a chance to ask them. So this will be kind of just a, you know, shot in the dark to see if it happens. You can see right now I'm coming up on the river, and even if the spider lilies aren't there, maybe there'll be some type of composition I can pull. At least get one shot out of here. But pretty much exploring as much as I am trying to get a photograph, because I've never been here, and it seems kind of cool. Like I said, looking at the river right now, it does look like it is high. Right there. So again, I don't know if that's going to affect getting a photograph or not, but the direction I just came looks as though it's a dead end, so I'm going to see if I can catch a trail further up that way. At least I got plenty of sunlight left today. There's a, I don't know if you'll be able to see it with this, but there's a sign on the tree that's fallen over there. Area 2 takeout for the canoers that come down, which this is pretty strong water today for canoers and kayakers, especially leisure kayakers. It's interesting how they have the sign on the fallen tree. Now here's something cool that I didn't expect to see. If you don't have time to read it, pause the video so you can. But I'm looking at this and looking at the stonework. This is rather cool in itself. Huh. Pretty interesting. All the stone was shaped by hand on the site, usually by a mason's apprentice, and the finished stone was put in place under the direction of a master mason. Cool. Now, what this was used for is they diverted water into this, which is basically a man-made canal, and because there's a pretty good elevation drop on the river out here, for boats that were coming up river, they would send them through this lock here and then use the water to raise them up lock by lock so that they can make it up and down the river here, which is kind of neat. It's very much similar to the way the Panama Canal works. See, you learn something just by going out. Stone walls are just amazing to me. This is what I'm coming for. So I must be getting close. So here is our moment of truth coming to the overlook. see a bright sun coming over top of the trees, which was another thing I was worried about, and there they are. I don't know if the GoPro's going to do it, but the Spider Lilies are all out here on the river. Very cool. Let's get this thing set up for composition. Okay, to show you kind of what I'm looking at, we've got the Spider Lilies. They're, you know, peppered all throughout the water here. The first shot I want to get is, if you can see it, there's a goose here, Canadian goose, that's resting on the rock. There's some other geese that are further down. I think I'm going to try to compose it where they're in it somehow. I'll probably go with a long exposure and a short exposure in case for the movement of the bird, but then I'm going to try something different with a long exposure to kind of smooth the water out. Now, all of those tiger lilies are bright in the sun, but right here near us are some other ones that are in the shade, and you can't see them really well, so I'm going to alter the exposure on that to see if I can brighten that up and have a closer up shot of some of the tiger lilies as well. But it's a beautiful place. This is kind of cool. I may even just do a shot back this way. We'll play with it a little bit and see what we can come up with. Now, I've got it focused on this one small patch where the tiger lily sticking up, and I'm doing a longer exposure. I'm doing a second to kind of smooth that water out around it. Set up on ISO 100, 1 second, and I'm at F22, try to make as much of it as sharp as possible. But I forgot my remote, so anything that I try to take is going to look like this, which is not going to be good. So this has a built-in Wi-Fi. What we're going to do is turn the Wi-Fi on. I've got the focus set and switched it to manual so it will not adjust, and I've also taken off the vibration control so that there will be no movement in the lens either. So what we're going to do is connect via the cell phone in just a second. Alright, you see I have an option to take photos. And there's my composition. So we're going to take a few of the photos. Now in this setup, it automatically downloads a low-res file to the phone too. But just wanted you to see how that worked and how I can get around movement in the camera. Also, if I step over here, see my strap moving? So that's why I want to kind of get away from it so that I don't cause any movement on this boardwalk when I get that shot. Now I can view the photo. You can see how much clearer it is there. That's what I was going for. And we'll do this with some other shots out here as well. Okay, the next composition I'm going to get is straight out. You can see the island where the trees are coming up, and I'm focused on the trees. I've got the spider lilies in the front. tree line. I got just a small tad of sky that's going to be in the composition here. So again, we're going to go to take photos. You can see the image that I'm looking at. That's a little too bright, so we're going to have to change things up a little bit. Alright, and there you can see the image. Alright, I think I've got a few, and I'm going to head back in before the sun gets too far down, since I am unfamiliar with this place. But I got some shots. So we got the shots that I wanted to get of the Spider Lilies. I really wish I could have got something up close, but the water's just too deep for me to try to go out there on them, and I mean, it is what it is. But there's one more shot that I want to try as I get back toward the parking area. You can see, you know, there's just a lot of greenery around here. Well, first of all, I'm going to do something with all that stonework, but just kind of cool. It probably won't amount to a shot at all, but I'm going to get a photo of it. But there was one spot, it's an open patch with the green covered in the bottom. Basic woodland shot, to be honest with you. And that one I'm planning, I may do it in color, but my first thought is black and white, and well, almost an infrared shot, and really make the green in a black and white would be white and high contrast. That's what I'm envisioning anyway. But we'll play with it. We'll see what happens once we get to post-processing, and I'll show you the scene that I'm looking at when I get back to the parking area. So this is the other composition I was talking about. Was shooting back in here with the green grass on the bottom. We've got the trees coming up, very little light filtering in, and shooting that in black and white, portrait mode. I don't know if it'll work, but I think I can get something pretty neat out of it, and that's my goal. We've got the opening that comes up into the trees there in the middle. I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. Now, there's no need for a long exposure. So basically, because I'm in the dark here, I've increased the ISO up to 800. I'm actually going to go a little bit higher. Go up to 3200. I'm going to shoot at f8 and (1/60th of a second). Start off with anyway. This is digital, so if this doesn't show like I want it to, then I can change it. But here we go. Now what I'm going to do with that, make sure I've got it spot on, is when I convert it to black and white, I'm going to do a fake infrared shot. And basically what I'm going to do there is when I convert to black and white, I'm then going to take the greens and slide it up to the saturation as high as I can, and the luminance on the greens as high as I can. That way when it converts to black and white, the green is going to be white. I'm going to darken the trees, bring out the blacks. Then that's going to give me a nice hard contrast, but it's going to give it just a neat effect with the grass being that white color and the tree, the leaves and that type thing being white. So hopefully you'll see it on here now. That should show you what I was talking about. The tiger lilies are really cool looking. Tiger lilies, they're spider lilies. Now there's no need for a long exposure.